Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Apex E-Series Showdown here on Thursday nights on VSRN. I'm Eddie Smith. Glad to have y'all here tonight for some, and we're going from Daytona right into Atlanta. Just plate racing, super speedway racing, whatever you want to call it. We're going right into it, and we're going to do it over again. We had so much fun last week doing that kind of style of racing. We're going to do it again. And Daniel Holcroft took the victory last week, put himself on top of the standings, and punched a ticket to the playoffs. And tonight, we're going to see who's going to go punch their ticket to the rounds, to the playoffs, and who's going to get that win tonight, or could Daniel Holcroft get two in a row? That'll be wild to find out. I want to thank ApexSimRacing.com, Apex Sim Racing custom racing gear for their sponsorship of this series. Jimmy over there does great work, and we definitely appreciate them. Let's take a look at your schedule. Daytona, 100 laps here tonight at Atlanta. We got Vegas next week, Bristol, Coda, Martinsville. Just a fun little stretch, but two plate tracks in a row. Going to be exciting to see how it all winds up. Of course, we're in the trucks, the truck series. That's what we're going to be racing, and they got plenty of horsepower. And tonight, you're going to see some big runs. Very akin to what you see in the next gen. Not as pronounced, not as wild and crazy, but pretty dang close. But you all know and love the trucks. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We'll see if handling going to be a big issue or not. Who knows? We'll all find out together as the trucks should be pretty wild. Qualifying just getting rolling. So we're going to jump right into it and see who's going to get on the pole here tonight. Let's jump right into it. On board, Alan Nash as he goes around. He's already gone around one time. We'll pull up the qualifying here. And see Tracy Pass is currently sitting atop the standings. And as Alan Nash crosses the line, we'll see where he jumps up to. And he's going to jump up to fourth position. Look how close the top 5 or 6 are. I mean, the top 5 less than a tenth from first to fifth. Christian Dedman out on track for his qualifying effort. We'll see how these guys decide to qualify. It's a little bit different. Super speedway tracks, you really want to, there's a different strategy. You see Christian right here running the outside here, coming down to take his flying lap, and then we'll see if he goes straight down to the bottom or if he kind of hangs out. It looks like his first lap, he's going to just kind of throw away. You definitely are faster down on the bottom, so he's trying to keep that momentum up on the top side, and he is going to have one chance at a flying lap. Coming off of turn number 4 here, we'll see. Cross the line. Let's see how much he can gain here. Going to go right down to the apron. Try to cut the corner as much as possible. Now, in qualifying, they will be able to use the apron part. I don't think during the race they'll be able to, so be on the lookout for that here on these qualifying efforts. The guy's going to go all the way down to the grass on the front stretch to get as much of that time as they can. You can see how smooth he's trying to be with the wheel. Stay right on that red and white line. He's going to actually cut here, and then he's going to drop right down to the grass, trying not to get a 0x, and cross the line, and we'll see where he goes. Only good enough for 11th for Dedman, so. On track now is Charles Stevens Jr. As we got a great shot here as he's going down to complete what looks like his second lap. And he's going to cross the line, and we'll see. First lap going to be good enough for 13th. We can't get these driver cams correct. There he is. Staying right around the bottom. Going to cut that travel again, and we'll see if he's able to pick up any time. He was 13th there on that first lap, and good enough for 7th there. He's going to jump up quite a bit. As Aaron Adcock crosses the line, he's going to finish, or he's going to come home in sixth. Excuse me. Wow, just falling apart here. So Adcock was able to get his time down. So now Kip Easley on the track, and now you see him running really, really slow here, and you go, what is he doing? Well, that is a trick these days. The qualifying scrutiny, you can't drive around slow. You used to drive around at like 2 miles an hour around the track so you didn't build any heat in the tires. And nowadays we don't do that. There's qualifying scrutiny keeps that from happening, but you can run around at 100 miles an hour for about the first lap or so. Just run around at 100 miles an hour, and then once you come around to take green flag, you hammer down, and your tires will be a little bit cooler. They'll be faster. So a little bit of tricks that go on in the super speedway. You got fixed set up. You're full throttle right around the bottom. You got to come up with any kind of tricks that you can come up with to try to get on the top of the boards. And we're going to see Kip Easley come across the line here to start what's going to be his first flying lap. First lap was a 33.0, which is obviously not very good. And we'll see if that that little trick, how well it nets him here on this second lap. I mean, they're just cashing in on the second lap, trying to get as much as they can on that first, get as much momentum. He's going to cross the line. Kip Easley, one I expect to see towards the front all race long, and he is going to go right up to second. Look how close, 3/1000ths of a second. That's the interval for the race this week, or last week in the Cup Series. So almost knocks the provisional pole Daniel Cunningham off of the top spot. Right now, I got Chuck Phelps. We got a lot of guys have gone to the barber, have pulled out the clippers, and have really changed the look. We got Chuck Pegleg, beardless, and a funny little story about that. He was shaving his beard. He said his cat was there and pawed at his arm, and he accidentally shaved part of his beard off. He said, well, at that point, you got to come on off with it. And so he goes ahead and just goes clean shaven. So a little bit of a new look here for Chuck Phelps. And he's got that 75 truck wound up here, first lap. Really slow like most people's have. We'll see if he can pick it up here, get close, maybe have a good starting spot for this race. But, yeah, you just want to have a good starting spot here at Atlanta. If you can start up front, you can control the race. Atlanta, while it is a super speedway now, it can still be tough to pass. A lot of times there won't be anywhere for you to go. So if you can start up near the front, that's what you want to do. We'll see where Chuck's going to land right here, across the line. And he is going to be up into 7th position. So actually a really good improvement there for Chuck Phelps as he's going to cross the line. And that'll do it for his run here. So we'll see if anybody else jumps out on track. We've got a couple minutes here tonight. And you know what? Let's talk to last week's winner, and let's see what Mr. Holcroft thinks about what he can do tonight. Holcroft, this is Eddie in the booth. Got a copy? Well, I'm doing good. You are the only winner this season so far. And so tonight you get to go try to get 2 in a row. You're able to get the win last week. You had some amazing race. You put together a great finish. Tonight, though, going to be starting deep in the field. Qualifying effort, while only a 10th off, a little bit behind, it's going to put you behind the 8 ball. But you got to feel confident about that 2 truck. It was really fast last week. What's your thoughts now that qualifying's starting to wind down here at Atlanta? Well, I mean, you were able to really have a good showing last week. And, I mean, talk a little bit about how important it is to have friends out there at a track like this.
Nobody to go with you, you ain't gonna go very far. You're gonna end up going even further backwards. So yeah, you've got to have somebody that you can draft with.
Well, hey, look, go ahead and apologize now. I cut off part of your interview there because I didn't have you unmuted yet. But I'm going to tell y'all, he was really giving y'all a lot of secrets, a lot of details in that first part, and we missed it. So if you're listening to the broadcast in the race, sorry, you didn't get to hear all the secrets and the stuff. But Daniel, great job last week. Looking forward to seeing what you can do this week. Got a little bit of ways to go to get to your teammate. Yeah, good luck tonight, and we'll hopefully be talking to you at the end of the race.
Hey, at least you didn't give all my secrets away, right?
That's right. All right. Well, congratulations again on that win last week. Good luck tonight, Daniel.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to go right into our grid as we're getting this thing ready to roll. And, boy, I can't wait to see how this race is going to play out. So let's go ahead and jump into our grid, see where everybody's starting here tonight. On the front row, your Chuck Peg Leg Pole Award winner is going to be Daniel Cunningham with a 32.030. Going to start on the pole. And what in the world is going on here? But this is, I don't know what's going on. The things are not, it's just everything is acted up here tonight. But that's okay. We're going to look here. Look here, we're gonna set it right on top because this is the Low Cash Motorsports starting grid, and Daniel Cunningham and Kip Easley gonna be on the front row. Row number 2 is gonna be Kyle Roberts with Michael Kostick there in the 4th position. Garrett Kinder in 5th with Alan Smith there in 6th. 7th gonna be Chuck Pegleg Phelps. Aaron Adcock gonna start in 8th. 9th is gonna be Brandon Wallace. Charles Stevens gonna round out your top 10. 11th going to be Jonathan Cofield. Matt Rogers going to be next to him in the 96 Toyota Tundra. 13th going to be Alan Nash with Tracy Passons in the 53. Christian Dedman starts 15th. Daniel Holcroft there in 16th. Justin Miller going to make his return. And Ray Rogers going to be outside of him. Clint Reese, Josh Lokovitz going to round out your field here in the Low Cash Motorsports starting grid. Well. Boy, I cannot wait. This is going to be exciting. If you don't have your popcorn, you better get it ready. Now, will it be a lot of cautions? I have no idea. You never know how these are going to play out. But it's going to be wild. We're going to see guys making all kind of moves, so you can expect I think you can expect a lot of action here tonight, especially in these trucks. Guys are going to get up here, and we have to talk about the reason why that's going to be. You got 75% fuel, so I don't know if they'll need to make 2 stops or not. You got 100 laps, but that stage break at 25 is really the kicker. Without that, I think you run nose to tail, just try to make it to the end of the race and then kind of go crazy. But here with this stage break, those points for the top 5 are going to be incredibly important. And so if you have championship hopes, you need to be up there getting those stage points at lap 25, and they do have the fast repair if they need it. So that is your race analysis. We get ready to go green here. Daniel Cunningham going to lead us down to the green flag, and let's take a look at our cams real quick. We're going to throw it in there as quickly as possible. We got the green flag going on here, but we'll take a look at who's on the cam. We got Holcroft, we got Lokovitz with a little shaved face. We got Kyle Roberts, Aaron Adcock, Brandon Wallace done him a little shave. Charles Stevens, Chuck Phelps, and Christian Dedman there down on the bottom right. But we are getting ready to go green. The pace truck pulls off, and green flag is out here in Atlanta. All right, as they come to complete lap 1, I think Kip Easley on that top line with Michael Kostick giving him a big shove. He's got Alan Smith right behind those two. Kip Easley able to get out front and on that top side. So we're already seeing that top side really work well. These trucks, very, very fun to draft in. The front and the rear bumpers line up really well. You can lay on the bumper and really give somebody a shove, as we're seeing on board with Michael Kostick here. Laying on that back bumper, trying to give him as much momentum as he can get. I mean, he's clear. He's just not moving down just yet. We'll see if he decides to give up on that top line, but so far so good for the guys on top. You see a couple other drivers have joined that top line, Brandon Wallace, and I can't see who else that is, but yeah, Alan Smith right behind Michael Kostick. Down on the bottom, you could see the gap. I mean, you see that Daniel Cunningham and Kyle Roberts, Garrett Kinder right behind him. A little bit more of a gap. You can see they're not as aggressive as the top line has been. That's why that top line has surged ahead. I believe that's Aaron Adcock up there in the top line in that 17 truck. A little bit of different look for him. But, yeah, so you see just how well organized the top is, where the bottom is mostly, you know, a lot of guys that are just like, hey, let's just hang out. Most of the time when you get guys on the bottom, those are usually your more passive drivers. Hey, I'm going to just take it easy, just ride here. And then the guys on top are the ones that are, man, I'm ready to go. I got to get up here and get to the front. So we only have 20 laps to go in this stage. So if you're trying to get up to the front, you got to move. And you can see how narrow this track is compared to Talladega Daytona. You don't really have a whole lot of place to go. So we'll see how many people are electing to try to get 3 wide. How important are those stage points to some of these guys? We'll see who's willing to make a move, maybe jump up to the outside. We saw in real life they can put 4 cars in the same lane. Will these guys do it? You know, who knows? That's always a scary idea. I think even 3 wide's scary, but I mean, you could see the lanes being kind of blocked here as Kip Easley staying on that top line, not electing to drop down, feeling like he wants to control the top lane, just allow Daniel Cunningham to continue to lead that bottom, and he can kind of control the race. If you jump down on the bottom, then Kostick can get a big push, and he can jump up in front of him. So it's a tough decision sometimes to decide what you want to do, lead what lane, but as long as you're out front of either one of the lanes, that's where you want to be. So you can see some guys towards the back. Ray Rogers, Justin Miller hanging out towards the back, and Daniel Holcroft still back there in 17th. Not in a big hurry, looking to try to just make sure he can stay around for the end of the race. On board there in Adcock. He's looking at the back end of that trigger time. Number 3 is Michael Kostick and Kip Easley. Dropped down. Looks like Kip maybe was just waiting on his help, saying, hey, I appreciate all the help that you gave me. I'm going to wait on you, and we'll try to jump down in front of that top line. And so now Alan Smith going to lead the top line with Aaron Adcock behind him. Oh, a little bit of contact with the wall there. It looked like Aaron thought about going to the inside, as now Cunningham jumps up to the outside, not wanting to just ride around. So some movement here. Now, of course, Daniel Cunningham, Michael Kostick teammates, so they would likely elect to be up front and get connected as Alan Smith goes way up the track, really struggling on that outside line. I talked to him a little bit earlier in the week, and he talked about how much practicing he's been doing to try to get ready, be more confident in the packs. And so far so good. He's running up near the front, just not being aggressive here on this early part of the race. You could see kind of wiggling just a little bit, but he's going to get right to the back bumper of the 8. Now he is sort of Kip Easley's best friend. He's got to get up there and move him towards the front. But kind of quiet so far. Got some drivers back here that are just riding. Like I said, Josh Lokovitz back here just pushing. I can't see. I think that's Matt Rogers he's in front of. So drivers really not in a big hurry. Like I said, there's really not anywhere to go unless you're going to make some wild moves. But he is just kind of hanging on back here to the back of the pack. Trying not to lose the draft. That's always a scary thing. You know, in the next-gen car, you can lose the draft in a heartbeat. You lift, and you're going to the back. Oh, my goodness, it's Alan Smith. Gets into the wall. Oh, is everybody going to be able to avoid him? He gets back up into the wall again, just trying to stay out of everybody's way. And I can't see who that is. Like Justin Miller was going to come up, maybe try to give him a shove, but I think both of them are going to lose the draft now. So all went from good to really, really bad for Alan Smith, who's now may have some damage, but also has now lost the draft. Now, the good news is stage break at lap 25, so they will be able to get caught back up. But that's how quickly it can happen. If you're not hanging around, I mean, for Justin Miller, he really didn't do anything wrong there, and now he is in big trouble. So those guys are going to be hoping that those next 12 laps kind of scoot on pretty quick. Up front, Michael Kosick has the lead with Daniel Cunningham, his teammate, right behind him. Kip Beasley's got the 17 now right behind him, pushing that top line. Garrett Kinder has moved up in the top line as well. So you got a little bit more organization in the top line, or at least more cars. But the bottom, I think the front two right now are running nose to tail and really pushing that line forward. So it's one thing to have the numbers, but it's another thing when you're just a little bit more organized and you're timing your pushes a lot better. And you can see the 08 there, Daniel Cunningham really laying on the back bumper of the 4, pushing him out. Just kind of negating those numbers. See, he's trying to time that run that he gets whenever he gets on the front straightaway, so he give him that shove. You don't really want to be pushing. You can kind of push on entry here in the trucks, but you don't really want to be pushing off the corner. You want to time it. You can see he's starting to get the run here. As he gets right off the corner, he wants to be right on his bumper, giving him a little push down to the into turn 3. Give him a little shove down in the corner, back off, get that run again as you come off turn 4, time it. You can see how he's timing it almost perfectly where he comes off the corner. Now he's on the straightaway through the tri-oval, and he can get right back on the back bumper. So electing not to push in the corners, which I think is a pretty safe bet here early. But I think as the race goes on, that'll continue to be something that keeps getting more and more aggressive as we go. But pretty good side-by-side action here. As so far, big movers, there really hasn't, at least I can't tell. Got somebody down on the apron there. I can't tell who that was, but still 2x2. But you can see kind of the nervousness of the whole pack. The whole pack just kind of moving around a little bit. Big shove from the 17 to the 8. Going to lose contact with that bumper, but those two are really, and Garrett Kinder trying to stay as close as he can. I mean, Garrett pushing the 17, really not going to do anything at all, but if he can stay really, really close and stay as close to that back bumper as he can, that gives the 17 all the momentum forward to continue to stay on the back bumper of the 8. They're really working well to go on the outside. I think they'll get a big run here down the back straightaway, and they do. Kip about a half a car length out ahead as they go down to turn 3. Just 5 laps to go to this stage. Who's going to come away with the stage win, and who's going to come away with some stage points? Top 5 get awarded those points, and those points carry all the way to the championship race. So you want to get those things. You see Kyle Roberts and Garrett Kinder make a little bit of contact, but those stage points will carry you in. Once the playoffs get reset and the field gets reset, a little movement from the 13 there. Those stage points will be added to their total along with wins, and that could be a huge bump to move forward into each round of the playoffs. So those stage points are going to mean a whole bunch. Right now, it's just a lockdown 2 lanes. Nobody has moved out to try to make a 3rd lane. While I think stage points are important, how important are they going to be? Is it worth going 3 wide and trying to get up there and get those, or will these fellas be plenty happy to kind of finish where they are. Right now, Kip Easley kind of been controlling this race. He's been up front on that outside line. Dropped down just periodically down on the bottom just for a lap or so, and then jump right back up there as the 4 in the 08 kind of wanted to get connected together. Another teammate, Jonathan Cofield, back in 9th. He's going to try to get connected with those guys and see. Now, one big thing, if we can stay green, we're going to have the stage here in just a couple laps, but if we stay green after that, you're going to see probably green flag pit stops. So that could be exciting if we're able to get that far. Oh, got somebody looking to go to the outside here. Can't see who it is. Brandon Wallace getting kind of stuck. Oh, as Garrett Kinder goes up to block the lane, and when he does, Cofield was the one moving out to go 3 wide. And when he did, Garrett Kinder went up to try to block that lane, and unfortunately for both of them, they're going all the way to the back as Garrett almost made contact. But here we go. Right now, Michael Kostick, once he got up front, he never gave it back up. Kip Easley now trying to get the 17 to give him a big push through 3 and 4. And crossing the stripe for lap 25 is going to be Michael Kostick. We'll see if they call it right at the line. So Michael Kostick going to be your stage 1 winner. And that is it for stages. So we'll have pit stops. Everybody going to come down and get fuel. And then we're going to see who takes tires. That's a big question here on this stage break. We saw how important it was to be up front. I mean, Daniel Holcroft started in the back last week's winner. He's up to 14th. Not a whole lot of places to go. We saw the 58 of Jonathan Cofield try to go out to the outside. Someone went up to kind of block that run and saw how difficult it was to make that happen. So it's going to be a tough call here. I think it's going to be interesting to see what these guys decide to do as far as coming down and taking maybe 2 tires, 4 tires. What's the call? 4 tires, handling could be an issue here. I don't know if they really run fast enough for it to be a big deal. We'll take a look at the weather, actually. And track's 92 degrees. That's pretty chilly comparatively. So I think we're going to see some guys go down, take 2 tires, get the fuel that they need, and try to get that track position. And we'll see what they decide to do. Costa going to lead us down pit road. We'll see what everybody decides here. Everybody coming down pit road pretty much have to. You don't have a choice. We'll see what your leader does here. He's going to go right into his pit stall. We'll see if the jacks go up on that number 4 machine. Right sides go up. And looks like left sides are going up as well. Do we have any 2-tire takers for that track position? Doesn't look like it. Michael Kostick got to burn them down off the corner. You can see everybody else following along. And the battle for second was really close, but Cunningham going to take over the second position. And then you see everybody else kind of filing out after that. So some drivers that started up towards the front now running at the back. Garrett Kinder was up in the front, up in the mix all race long, but now finds himself back in the 15th position. So going to have a lot of work to do. Well, all right, we're going to take a short break since we got this stage break. That way we don't have to do it again, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Want to thank all of our sponsors, of course, Apex Sim Racing Gear, but we also want to here at VSRM, we've got our own sponsor we got to thank, and that's Premier Racing Setups. Been a great sponsor for us this season. Sponsored a couple drivers in a few series, and they have been sponsoring Goat Locker and providing custom fixed setups for those guys in that Friday Night Truck Series that'll be on tomorrow night. So definitely appreciate them and them being a part of VSRN. Well, I don't see anybody that took I don't see anybody that took just 2 tires there, so looks like everybody going to hold steady. Take 4 tires at this stage break, but Caustic was the one that was the one that won this. As we get ready to go green here. Now we have a long stint. Potential for green flag stops, which could make this very exciting. And we'll see. Pace truck going to pull off. Caustic going to take the outside here, try to get a good jump. And you can see Daniel Cunningham not even as he's trying to let his teammate here down on the start. And successfully does that. Big gap there on the bottom lane. As those two are going to get connected here on the start of this one. You're going to see some big runs get kind of connected and started to get rolling. It'll take about a lap for everybody to get up to speed and get that momentum built up, and then we'll see both those lanes really start to pick up here. You see the kind of a 2-car breakaway at the moment as Kip Easley down on the bottom, but here comes the 17 of Aaron Adcock with a big run as across the stripe. Aaron Adcock gets a nose out ahead. He's got Charles Stevens there on his back bumper giving him a push as they're trying to make this high line work and doing a great job down the front straightaway. They got almost a full truck linked out ahead of the bottom line. We'll see if Aaron tries to drop down or if he's going to stay. Couldn't quite clear the 4. He was thinking about it as he does get a little out of shape with the 84 pushing him here. Man, I'll tell you what, it's so difficult. It's so, I mean, honestly, it's mind-blowing that we are able to race in our homes across the country, all over the place, and we can bump draft each other in a sim on a computer. I mean, just unbelievable. These guys are racing nose to tail, trying to make moves, split-second decisions, just amazing what iRacing can do, and you can see those guys really making it work. Topside kind of fell back just a little bit as Charles Stevens got a little out of shape trying to stick with the bumper of the 17. It's just so difficult to do on a computer across the country. But you see Chuck Feltz up there on the top line in that black and red, third in line up top. And right behind him is Jonathan Cofield, who's not going to go up to the outside. We already seen him do this once before, but kind of peeked up there, but didn't really go anywhere. So I don't know if he had a run or if he was just trying to peek his nose out there. Might have just got tight in the middle of the corner. That is possible here at Atlanta. So you can hear him lifting. He's getting really big runs, just nowhere to go with it. He can't really shove Feltz because Feltz has got 2 cars in front of him. They're really the only drivers that can really shove anybody right now is the 2 at the front of each line. And then if you're back here, you're just right. You're lifting. You're trying to save a little bit of gas. And I don't know if he got a bump there or what's going on, but now he's going to go 3 wide here. On Chuck Feltz, he got a pretty massive run. I don't know if he got a bump from Tracy Passons, but unfortunately he doesn't have any help out there, so they're still 3 wide. Oh, my goodness, and Cofield going to have to back out of it. Just doesn't have the run to make that happen just yet. But like I was saying, you kind of just run back here, and you don't want to save fuel, but there's no reason not to because you just don't have anywhere to go. We've seen Cofield kind of poke his head out there a couple times to see if he can generate a run, maybe get somebody to go with him, but just not able to do it. And so with that being said, there's really not much to do other than save fuel. I mean, that's the only thing you can do at the moment if nobody's willing to jump out with you and go, is to save a little bit of gas, and that way you don't have to come in, stay out a few laps longer. You just never know how it's going to play out. With 75% fuel, I'm fairly certain they're going to have to come down pit road. I don't think anybody can save that many laps. So we're definitely going to see at least one green flag stop if we get there. But that is a big if for sure. But this is definitely the time where everybody's kind of racing calm. You can see how many gaps are between the front two are kind of pushing each other. They're trying to control the race. It is not easy up front. And Cunningham and Aaron Adcock are the most important people on the track right now, as they are the one dictating the lanes. It's a cat and mouse game. The top side gets a nice run, and down the straightaway off the corners, where entry and through the middle, the bottom is a little bit better. So it is a game of the 17 trying to push the 8 at the right time to get him a big old shove that he can get out there. It's the 08's job to try to make sure the top line doesn't get the run they need. So you see he's laying on the back bumper as those two get together, push the 4 out into the turn to make sure that they control that bottom line. So it's a tough game. I mean, you can see they're constantly going back and forth trying to make that happen, but you also have to be wary of your temperatures. The 17 and the 08 can't push for too long. Their trucks will start overheating, and they won't be able to push at all. So you have to. It is a lot of work, and it doesn't look like it, but it is a lot to make all this stuff happen. All that stuff gets factored in. So the 17 going to give a big push here, but he can only push for so long. Then he's got to back off, and when he does that, it's going to pull that whole lane back because they don't have the momentum that they were having when they were running nose to tail. He's got to let that truck cool off and then get back to it. So if you push for too long, you start to overheat that truck, and then you lose all your progress, which looks like to be what happened there on that outside. You can see Aaron kind of peeking the truck out. He's leaving about a quarter of a car length, and that's pretty indicative that that truck is overheating, and you can't really play with it. If that thing starts to blink, that water temp gets a little bit too high, this engine will blow very quickly. So you have to manage the risk. How important is it that you get Kip Easley out there? And for Cunningham, he's really just playing off the top line. They're getting runs. Right now, he can take it easy. He doesn't have to push. There's no need to really push caustic and overheat your truck. You're just waiting on those guys to get a run. Once the 17 and 8 get hooked back up, then the 08 starts laying on the back bumper of the 4. So it is a cat and mouse game up front, and I think that's what makes Super Speedway racing here and on iRacing just a whole lot of fun and so interesting when it's done properly. Well, we got a lot of teammates kind of spread out. You got 2 bandits down on the bottom, 1-2, and you've got Nitro up on the top side. His teammate back in 12th. Holcroft trying to make his way towards the front. You got 17, a Po-Man there in the second, and he's side by side with another Po-Man driver down on the bottom. And you got Brandon Wallace and Charles Stevens Jr. They kind of work together every once in a while. But right now, all your teammates kind of split up other than the top 2 there down on the bottom. Is Cofield, again, going 3 wide, trying to make that top side work, but just not been able to do it just yet. As he's looking on the outside of Chuck Phelps, but just doesn't seem to be able to generate the run that he needs to get around him. And I think what's causing that is, if I know Chuck like I do, he is the type of guy that really lifts a good bit. He's trying to save fuel, but he's also trying to lift to stay out of, he's the type of guy who, if that lane backs up a little bit, he's trying to keep that cushion, and he's going to lift out pretty hard. And I think what's happening is Cofield is seeing that and jumping up to the outside every time that happens. And see Garrett Kinder actually going 3 wide, putting Lokovitz on the outside by himself. No help. Lokovitz going to fall back behind Alan Nash there. Or actually, that's Tracy Passons again. Cofield going to look up to the outside. It's going to get tight here. Here they go. Cofield going to get put in the wall by Chuck Phelps. He gets off the wall. But now, here comes Garrett Kinder and Tracy Passons. Down to the inside, and now Cofield's out there by himself. Cofield goes down and makes a little contact with Lokovitz. Couple drivers happy to see that stage is back here. Alan Smith and Justin Miller, as they're kind of just hanging out back here, just trying to stay in it, not get caught up in any wrecks. Trigger Time Chevrolet. You can see, though, look how much gap they have. Now, in the next shed, you'd almost be about to lose a draft, but the trucks, they get such a massive run. They don't have quite the parachute that the next shed does, so you can stay back like this and you can usually catch back up, but all it takes is one bag, little hiccup, somebody lifting at the wrong time or checking up, and you've lost the draft. So it's all, plate racing is so interesting just because of all the different skill sets you have to employ, and you don't always make the right decision. Sometimes it takes a little bit of luck. So there's so many things that can go wrong here, but it also can go wrong with that pack up there wreck. So you've seen people get 3 wide, guys get into the wall. Being running around by yourself might not be the worst thing in the world. Here comes Cofield again, going 3 wide, as he is tired of riding around 2 lanes, but he cannot get anybody to go with him. Here comes Matt Rogers, looks up there. Oh my goodness, Daniel Cunningham getting sideways. Here we go, wreck happening, big one. As Chuck Phelps going to go around, Alan Smith going to be able to miss it. But we saw it start with Daniel Cunningham and Chuck Phelps. And, oh, man, looks like Matt Rogers got smoke billowing out of that 96 machine as he cannot get that thing going. He's going to have to take a tow. Oh, no, he's able to get it going here. That motor, as the pace truck just flies on by, he's going to have to enter the closed pit and get that fast repair because he may not make it. The danger here is if he does not make it all the way back to pit road, he can't use the fast repair. He'll have to tow, and that'll even put him behind, even more behind the 8 ball. Let's go back and see what happened. We're going to go back pretty far here, so we'll try to stay with it. And it all started with Daniel Cunningham. It's going to be about a lap before we actually get to it, as I went back just a little bit too far, but we're going to just deal with it. You can see Cunningham or Cofield out on the outside there, and we'll see maybe if we can try to find out what happened that caused this little. And you see, it looks like Cunningham actually gets a little tight there on the bottom, and when he does, he makes contact with Kyle Roberts, and that's where it all started. Got a little bit better look at it here. Watch as he goes down to the corner. Yeah. Oh, he actually makes a little contact with the 17. They kind of meet here. You can see the 17 going to come down and kind of catch that right rear just ever so slightly. Once he did, it's bumper cars. As Kyle Roberts gets loose, the 17 goes right up into the wall. And then it was Garrett Kinder to try to click through and find it. And Matt Rogers gets kind of turned there at the end. Just a bad moment for all those drivers. On board with Matt Rogers here. Here's where the contact is made. You can't really see anything at the moment. Then it's just trying to avoid the wreck. He does a pretty good job, makes a little bit of contact here, and then I don't know what happened there. He made a little contact with somebody else. Somebody may have come off the wall and hit him here. Let's see if we can see what happened. Oh, yeah, he makes contact with, I can't really see who that is. That might be Daniel Holcroft. Everybody comes down pit road. Now the question is, an awkward time for this caution. How many laps can they make it on fuel? We'll go on board. You can see on board with your leader, Michael Kosick. He is shutting that truck off. Trying to save as much fuel as he can. So it's likely they're right there on the edge of making it on fuel. It's such an awkward time for that caution. They went a little bit further, they probably would have been okay. But 75% fuel load here tonight makes it a little bit tougher to make it on these green flag runs. But it looks like he's actually, I can't tell if he's shutting the car off completely. And it looks like I think he is going all the way down to dang near zero. And I think the truck's idle around 1200 RPM, so he was definitely cutting the truck off. It's pretty interesting you can do that. You can actually hit the ignition switch and cut it off, hold the clutch in, and then pop that clutch, and it'll crank it back up, and you can save as much fuel as you want. It's like everybody coming down pit road getting 4 tires and fuel, but we're getting ready to go green here, as Michael Kosick has been up front all race long. Now you got Christian Dedman up here in the 3rd position. Green flag is out, and a big old gap on this bottom line. The bottom line just not organized at all. You see the top line. Yeah, Kyle Roberts just doesn't seem like he got a great run. He's really struggling here, so I don't know if he's got damage, but he is holding that whole line up. He's not going. He is not going. He's got to get out of the way. They're trying to go down to the inside, but not able to do it as Christian Dedman goes for the lead. But Kyle Roberts must have some major damage after that wreck, as he is well off the pace. You can see that top line just dying. So big problems for Kyle Roberts as he's going all the way to the back. But up front, Christian Dedman takes that 19 machine up to the front, and he's got Tracy Passons right behind him. The 99 comes up to the 4 to give him help, as we'll take a look at Christian here on the outside. You can see the incredible focus that's going on in the 19 truck as he's trying to hold that thing steady and hope that Tracy gives him the bump at the right time. Been racing, just riding around all race long towards the back, now up at the front, and the intensity is definitely different up in this top 3 lanes. He's getting a good push here from Tracy. Tracy really laying on the bumper. He was pushing him pretty much throughout the whole corner, but we still have about 45 laps to go here in this race. I've already seen some slight contact here. Dedman going to have a big run down the back straightaway, but the 99 gives the 4 another huge shove as well, and so they're going to break even right as they come off of turn 4. Guys who used the fast repair there on that caution. Looks like Matt Rogers, Chuck Phelps, Aaron Adcock, all fast repairs gone. Alan Nash, Garrett Kinder used theirs as well. So we got some drivers who are on their last leg. They don't have a shot if they get caught up in another incident. So it's going to be tough for them here on out without that fast repair. I mean, honestly, people say, oh, I don't race different because I got a fast repair. Yes, you do. Everybody mentally races a little bit different, knowing that they've got a mulligan in pit road. And you can already see the guys without fast repairs not going to be racing as hard. Got a few at the back, knowing that they've got to make sure that they keep that truck to the end. They got to be there if they're going to win. Here comes Garrett Kinder. He's one that may not fall in that same category. He guy pushes up, and actually Josh Lokovitz has to check up. He gets in the wall because of it. It's still Kosick and Dedman on the front row with Brandon Wallace pushing that number 4. See them side by side. Got a lap truck up here. I don't know who that is. It's either Matt Rogers or Kip Easley. Can't really see at the moment, but we'll see what that lap car decides to do. If they get off the track, that'll be fine. We won't have to worry about it. But if not, if they decide to run it looks like it's going to be Kip Easley. These guys are going to have to avoid him. Kip, though, going to go down to the apron and let these guys go. That's a solid move by Kip. He's already 2 laps down. And Matt Rogers is 1 lap down. So, unfortunately for Kip, that's likely, unless we have a string of cautions here, you're going to need about 4 at this moment. Unfortunately for Kip, he is going to be out of this one early, which is really disappointing for that 8 truck. I think he had a really fast Chevrolet, and it's just unfortunate. Man, I'm seeing a lot of movement up here, making me a little bit nervous. Big pushing. You can see it's the same game, different players up front. Caustic doesn't have his teammate anymore. Well, he does have his teammate. I guess Brandon Wallace is kind of working with him here on Bandits. All these guys race in so many different leagues. They're on different teams, depending on the league they're in. It's hard to keep up with it, but you see the 99 pushing that 4, doing a great job. A little bit nervous behind the 4. If I'm Caustic, I'm saying, hey, bud, you good? Just calm down. Keep her straight. Looks like Caustic is doing a good job of keeping it steady, but you can see that 99 kind of drifting up a little bit, kind of like he's running behind an 18-wheeler on the highway. And he's got the number 3 back behind him down on the bottom. I think Alan Smith's in a great position here if we go green to the end. He doesn't have to do much. You see he's got about half the car length, and Brandon Wallace and Caustic really doing the heavy lifting down on the bottom. He just got to stay in line and keep those numbers in that lane to make sure that the bottom continues to stay healthy as far as the draft goes. Oh, my goodness. A little bit of a bad push there from Tracy Passons on the left rear of the 19. That gets him a little out of shape. You can see pushing there on the right side of the bumper. That's where you want to be pushing. But you get down on that left rear bumper. Oh, Tracy's going to make contact with Brandon Wallace. He gets loose, comes down, and wrecks it. Brandon Wallace up into the air. And caution is out again, and Garrett Kinder was involved in that one as well. And that'll do it for the 13. He is completely tore up. So the number 13, Big Frig, out of it again. I know he's ready to get away from the super speedway. It's just been a tough couple weeks for him. Let's go look at see what happened. We kind of watched it. We'll watch from a little bit different perspective if we can. Gonna see Tracy really laying on that back bumper, and he just kind of gets crossed up here, it looks like. You see he's really being aggressive here. I don't know if he needed to be, but regardless, he's just trying to control that lane. He's gonna get right here and just gonna get out of shape, and he's trying to catch it, and boom. Brandon Wallace with a massive hit. Go look off the front bumper of Tracy Passons. The wreck happens down in turn 1. Watch it right here. As you're going to see Tracy Passons just going to kind of get crossed up here, and just the truck gets loose. And when he does, just boom, right into Brandon Wallace. On board Brandon Wallace here. Let's see what it looks like. I mean, you're just minding your own business. The next thing you know, you're head first into the outside wall. Right about here. Ooh. You hear the motor expire. Goes up in the air. on board Garrett Kinder for this one. Yeah, Tracy just gets crossed up, trying to follow the back bumper. Oh, man, Matt Rogers almost saved it. Josh Lokovitz involved. Yeah, we'll go back and look at it real quick. I mean, you could just see, I mean, honestly, Tracy is just trying to follow the bumper, and right here, he's just going to get crossed up. He's going to go down, up, down, and trying to stay on that back bumper. And when he does that many movements, especially on entry when the truck is at its lightest, that truck just comes around. I mean, that is the difference between Talladega, Daytona, and this track right here. Handling does matter, and it can catch you if you're not careful. So one of the cool things about Atlanta at the moment, I will say, I was pretty down on the repay or the reconfigure, not really the repave, but the reconfigure of this track. Pretty down on it. Not a huge fan, but I think what we saw, especially in the Cup race, is that this track, as it continues to age, is gonna, handling is gonna become more and more of a factor. And we kind of saw that being the case here, as that took out a ton of trucks. Garrett Kinder out of this thing. Kip Easley called it quits as well. Brandon Wallace called it quits. So those three drivers out of this one. Matt Rogers, he is effectively out. He's sitting on pit road getting some damage repair, but he's not going to be able to get that thing fixed. That thing is a mess, and he has already used his fast repair. So Tracy going to be one lap down. He, I think he does get a fast repair on that 53, so that truck is brand spanking new, but he's a lap down, so he's going to need a caution and hopefully not be caught up in it to get that thing back on the lead lap. But up front, it has all been Michael Kosick. Now he's going to take the top line, and finally Jonathan Cofield was able to get that truck up to the front. A lot of folks took just either two tires, actually no tires. A lot of folks took no tires here on that caution flag while we were reviewing the wreck. So we'll see if that plays into handling just fuel only to make sure they can make it. And a really great start here on the outside. We've seen that bottom line be really, really strong. And you see the top line just really fell apart as now these top two are starting to break away. It won't be for long as the others will get up to speed. Kyle Roberts kind of out there by himself. As here comes Alan Nash up here to try to make it a two-car train as Daniel Cunningham trying to get back towards the front. Starting to see those trucks close in as the draft picks up. We get up to speed. The top line trying to get moving here. Alan Nash, Kyle Roberts, both teammates, actually friends in real life. I think they're golfing buddies, I think. So, I mean, what better way to do a little bit of golfing and then come home and do a little bit of racing and maybe try to win a race here at Atlanta as they work together on that outside. I got Charles Stevens right behind him with Daniel Cunningham now jumping down to the inside. And, oh, my goodness, I thought there was almost some contact there, but Cunningham not liking what he saw on the outside decided to jump down to the bottom. And you see some guys moving all over the place, trying to pick a lane that they think they want to be in. But now is the time if you're going to move up towards the front. If you're in the back still riding around, if you're Ray Rogers, Chuck Phelps, those guys in the back, you got to start making your moves now. You're going to run out of laps. It's so difficult to make moves here. We saw Cofield try to get up to the front many times, not able to get it done. So if you're not making moves towards the front, before you know it, it's going to be lap 98, and you're just not going to have time. So, but I was talking around Caustic today in a Discord, and he was saying, I hate New Atlanta. I just hate it. I don't want to do it. Don't like it. Don't want to race it. And it's always those guys that get up front and lead every single daggum lap as the guys say, I hate this track. People always make fun of me about Iowa because I say I hate Iowa. And now I go out there and I do well at it. And I think there's something to that. I think when you hate a track, you really kind of bring your A game because you feel like you're not very good at it, you don't like it, and you feel like you need to kind of give that little bit of extra. And so I think that's what we're seeing right now is Caustic. I mean, he's been making moves, got up towards the front, got out ahead, was able to drop down with his teammate, and he's been up front the rest of the race. So showing a lot of strength. I mean, he lost one of his teammates in Daniel Cunningham, but then he had Brandon Wallace give him a big push. And here we go, 3 wide. As you know, that I was telling you, it's time to make moves. You're gonna have to make moves, and it looks like Charles Stevens gonna go to the back here as he doesn't have any help. And it looks like the Poban bunch starting to get connected here as Brandon Wallace gonna pull off the track as he is back on. He does have a fast repair, it looks like, after getting towed. But it is Poban on the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers on the top side, I believe, are all Poban. So they are working together. Try to get up here and get this win. Let's see if they can get it done. See somebody down on the apron there. It's Daniel Holcroft. Now, on that tri-oval, I'm pretty sure I wasn't in the driver's meeting, but I'm pretty sure you cannot use that tri-oval. So you have to stay above that red and white line. So I don't think we'll see anybody jump down there and try to take over. Similar to the yellow line rule at Talladega Daytona. And you'll see the bottom lane kind of hug that lane. It's a little bit awkward. You can't stay right on that, with it being a tri-oval. You have to come off a little bit. If somebody gets down on the apron, it looks like Justin Miller and Christian Dedman did not have a great entry to 1 there. I mean, you see a massive gap, 2 or 3 car gap. We'll see if anybody decides to jump down there. As Dedman really kind of falling back here. I don't know if he kind of got loose or what happened, but starting to get that momentum built back up now. I think if you're on the bottom, you're kind of there. There's nowhere to go on the bottom. I don't think you'll want to drop down to the bottom. I think if I'm on the bottom, I'm trying to get up and trying to find that 3rd lane if I can use it. But it's still nose to tail. Alan Nash, Michael Kostick. That bottom line now becoming a little bit more organized. We'll see if they can try to take control of this race, or will Poban on the outside there be able to get at least one of their drivers up there. Ideally, that would be the strategy, is to get Alan Nash up there in front of those 2 drivers and then drop down, and then your team controls both lanes. They got big contact back here. Reckon no caution, though. They stay green. It's Justin Miller and Chuck Feltz. Chuck, slow on the racetrack. He's pulling off, but we stay green here as contact was made in the back of the pack. Justin Miller looked like he was involved as well. Let's see if we can't find out what happened real quick on the replay. We'll go right back to the racing as soon as we can. But trying to see what happened there. Oh, Justin Miller gets a little bit loose on entry, tags Chuck Feltz, and they go hard into the outside wall. We go back to the action, though, because we stay green. iRacing choosing not to throw the caution. So we stay green. Now that top line has lost a little bit of its oomph. There's now just 4 trucks up there on the top line. Topside just not able to get what they need to get up towards the front, as Cofield's been doing a great job of keeping Caustic. And it just shows the strength of that second truck in line. Now in the next gen, it'll be the 2nd and 3rd car in line that are the most important. But here in the trucks, that 2nd driver in each line is the most important. And you can see right now, Cofield is winning that battle as he has been able to keep that bottom line all connected and really no pressure from the outside just yet. But still coming to about 17 laps to go here as across the line. Numbers start dwindling. It's harder and harder to make moves. The more numbers you have you can make a third line work. I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for that to work now. As you see the top line still with those 4 trucks. They are making some headway, but you just got to be careful because Kyle Roberts having to put a lot of strain on that motor, not being able to get air to that machine. If he pushes out there and they're unsuccessful of getting Alan Nash out front, he's going to have to back off and that top line is going to die. So it is a tough ask for that top line with just the 4 trucks. It's a lot of responsibility on Kyle Roberts, and it's still, I think, a little bit too early. I think you kind of have to ride a little bit. Don't push that temp too hard. I mean, there's just so many variables you have to work through here, but, the temperature is something that you need to work with. You need to keep that temperature low, at least relatively low, so when you get down to just a few laps to go, you can push, and you're not in danger of blowing your motor. So he can't be too aggressive with these pushes. There's still a long way to go here. I mean, one little small mistake, and caution comes back out. The 27 is giving plenty of room there to that inside line. That's one thing that they also could do is kind of start side drafting, just like what you're seeing right there, and leaning on the bottom line to try to pull them back a little bit with that those aerodynamics, and it does work. It definitely does. Oh my goodness! Is Alan Nash going to get up into the wall, go 3 wide as they make contact, and then they wreck each other? Oh my goodness, they get into the wall. Alan Nash was going to get through, but for some reason, they make contact, and another couple drivers now out of this thing. Now the numbers are down to just 8 drivers in this main pack. It is getting wild out here. They had it saved, and then for some reason, made contact again. It's a bummer, but you see that top line now. Tracy Passon's pushing that 17. I've already seen him get kind of crossed up, pushing another driver. Has he been able to kind of resolve that issue, get it fixed, know what he needs, know what his mistake was, and try to rectify that here towards the end of this race? But they are the only ones up in the top line. We've already seen a couple bad pushes here tonight already, but Aaron breaks up the top 2 now. This is a pretty good run here. Cofield going to get back to the back bumper pretty quickly, but it is a pretty good run down into turn 1. We'll see if they can get through. Tracy going to have to lift soon. He's going to have to let that truck air out. He's still got 10 laps to go. There's still so many laps in this race. You can't afford to push that engine too far. They almost were able to make it, but I think Tracy's going to have to come off now and let that truck breathe a little bit. But yeah, we got a lot of drivers driving around by themselves. Ray Rogers is back here with Josh Lokovitz. Got a little bit of damage on both those trucks, and unfortunately, unless they get a caution, they're going to be in trouble. But so far, Kostick has really been the dominant truck out front, been able to keep that 4 truck where he needs to be, has not really made any mistakes. And you can see that top line just dying as Tracy obviously having to let that thing cool off. And I mean, you really don't want to be pushing it right here, I don't think. I think you want to let it cool off as much as you possibly can so you can have one big push. They've already driven up there at 1 point, so they can do it again, but don't want to get that thing where it's too hot too early. We're still 8 laps to go here in this race. Ooh, Alan Smith all the way down on the apron, trying to give plenty of room to that middle lane for Brandon Wallace, the lap truck going to the back, giving way. Here comes Tracy and Aaron again, deciding to push. I think it's too early. Man, I really do think it's too early, but we'll see what they can do. I think Tracy is really pushing the limits. Oh, he's going to make contact with the 17. Gets him a little bit loose. They come apart as they had a massive run. Just not connected like they need to be. It's going to be really tight as now here comes Daniel Cunningham up to the outside, knowing that he can't go nowhere down on the bottom, so he's going to jump up, try to follow this top line as we're coming down to just 6 laps to go. I think Tracy's going to have to just back off a little bit. I think he's going to have to wait. If he pushes again too early, how hard is he pushing that temp? You get to the white flag, you just push. You don't care about that darn temperature. It starts blinking red. Oh, my goodness, to the 17. Gonna get loose again. Bad push from Tracy Passons as they go around. No caution yet, and caution finally flies as Tracy Passons, Poe Man, go around again. On board with Tracy here. You're going to see him trying to stay right on the back bumper. We'll see where it all goes wrong right here. And oh, Aaron actually just gets loose. Oh, not even a bad push. You could see it there on the screen as we were watching. Aaron just gets loose. He goes down to the corner on the outside. Tracy didn't even touch him. Same thing that happened to Tracy Passons happens to the 17. And unfortunately, 3 of those drivers make contact, and those 2 got the worst of it for sure as Aaron goes down and hits the inside wall. Well, all right. Well, this is going to be interesting as it really kind of inflates a little bit. I'm supposed to be building up drama, but unfortunately it kind of deflates things as you're going to see some drivers go down pit road, get either damage fixed or a fast repair, but it kind of deflates what can be done here because you've got Cossack and Cofield together, and they have been working really, really well. As you see, it's like Justin Miller is going to get the lucky dog there. I think those 2 have been working really well together. I think that they will line up in such a way that they will get connected right off the start. And if they can do that, I don't really see a way that anybody else wins with this so few trucks out there. It's going to be interesting to see if Dedman or Allen or Daniel Holcroft, last week's winner, pull this thing off. These 2 have just been working so well together, and honestly, as you get down to the end of these things with the green-white checkered situations and whatnot, green-white checkers really don't allow for good racing at plate races. You really have to. There's a lot of ebb and flows that go on with it. You really need to have 5 or 6 laps to really generate the runs, get all the momentum wound up all the way from the front to the back of the pack. And I think short amount of time like this is really good for these top 2. So I think it's going to be difficult. I mean, Dedman, Alan Smith, not teammates. How well will they work together? Will they be willing to? Somebody up here is going to have to get it connected with somebody to try to uproot these guys. Now, we already saw a restart with Daniel Cunningham down on the bottom, had about a whole car length back on that front row, and I think it's frustrating with teammates trying to let each other in and stuff like that. You kind of wonder, if you're Christian Dedman, do you try to do something to not allow that? You can't. I don't know if you can just run over a guy, but if he's checking up too much or he's not going, try to put him in a position where he's having to think about you instead of just having free reign at letting the Ford truck down on the bottom, and that's what they're going to try to do with Cossack taking the top side. Cofield's going to try to hang back about half a car length and then allow Cossack to go, and then Cofield's going to get on the gas a little bit later. Cossack drops down in front, and they push and go off. I think if you're the 19 to the 3, you try to prevent that somehow, and really, how do you do it? It's going to be difficult. I think if you're the 19, you just lay on the bumper, the 58, try to force him into a mistake. But you can see there, look, it's almost a full car length back as the 58 at the moment. as he does draw even here. Getting ready to go green, though. Green, white checkered. I think this is going to be like a just a natural green-white checkered. But here they come down to the Geico restart zone. See that full car length there. Down on the bottom as Cofield really holds that bottom lane back. Nobody can really do anything about it. They're going to get connected here as they're going 3 wide towards the back. We'll see if anybody can generate a run. It's going to take about a lap. They don't have a whole lot of time. If you're going to do something, now is the time. Alan Smith there on the outside. No help as he loses help down the bottom. Now people are sticking their nose out. They do not have enough time. They've got to get up there and generate this run soon. Here we come to the white flag. One more lap to go. Who's going to get it done here in Atlanta? And this thing's going to be official. Holcroft now is going to be your leading driver on the outside. Dedman pushing down on the bottom. The inside really getting aggressive. Does the outside have a chance? Can they get a run? They're going to have to be a lot closer than this. As they go, they're wrecking all behind them. And that top line's going to lose every bit of momentum as there's a big wreck behind us. But coming down to the stripe, no pressure as Kostick is going to win here in Atlanta. See Josh Lokovitz involved. Justin Miller looks like he was involved as well. The 27 of Alan Nash completely missing a front bumper. As we'll take a look at see, maybe if we can find out what happened there as we were coming to watch the checkered flag. Yeah, it looks like the 08 gets turned by the 84 as they were just trying to get something going there. We'll watch the 84 right here just kind of go up, gonna bump Kyle Roberts as the bottom line checks up a little bit. And then it's just all mayhem from there. Boom. Hard hit from the outside walls. I can't see how that was Aaron Adcock who was trying to make it through that, trying to Days of Thunder style, make it through that wreck. Watch here. See the wreck happening out in front of him. He's just going to try to Days the Thunder this thing. They're coming to the checkered. Oh, man. He's going to fight across the line. He actually comes home in ninth position, so. But your winner, Michael Kostick, comes home and takes the checkered flag, led a ton of laps, and comes home the winner. And you can see 79 out of 100 laps at a plate track. That is very, very impressive. And he comes home with the win. We'll take a look at your results here, see where everybody finished, and then we'll do your interviews, and then we'll call this one a night. Kostick, Cofield, Dedman, your top three. Kyle Roberts comes home with a fourth place finish. Daniel Holcroft, last week's winner, comes home in fifth. Ray Rogers comes home in sixth, kind of snuck in there on that one. Alan Smith in seventh. Charles Stevens Jr. in eighth. All these drivers involved in that last incident. Aaron Adcock in ninth. Daniel Cunningham in 10th. 11th going to be Josh Lokovitz. Alan Nash in 12th. Tracy Passons in 13th. 14th was Justin Miller. 15th, Brandon Wallace. Chuck Phelps in 16th. Matt Rogers 17th. Garrett Kinder 18th. 19th was Kip Easley. And Clint Reese looks like he never turned a lap. 4 cautions, 1 for a stage break, 1 for or 3 in the race, and 21 lead changes, and somehow Kostick led every single lap. So, or 79 out of 100 laps. So it's really impressive. All right. Well, let's take a little short commercial break. Then we'll come right back and we'll do some interviews. All right, well, we're back, and we're here with the winner, Michael Kosick. Michael, we saw you typing in Discord earlier today, talking about, you know what, I hate New Atlanta. But for some reason, you come out here and you kick butt tonight. You you led 79 out of 100 laps here. I mean, what changed? You go from hating this track to that gummit. You seem like you're pretty good at it. Talk me through it and how you're able to get it done here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, still not a big fan of it. Just pretty much my teammates just giving me great pushes all race. Even when Bubba got up behind me, he was helping out a little bit. Able to get the low line working, some solid pushes, and keep me up front.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like you had Cunningham, behind you for a while, and then you had Brandon Wallace, and you had Cofield, and it seemed like you were just the winner had the best pushers of the night. It seemed like that bottom line was really strong. Top side really struggled to get some momentum, except for when you were up there, and you and I believe I can't remember who it was, Cunningham, I think. Were able to make it work, and that y'all were about the only ones that could make it work, which got you the lead, I believe. What was the trick to getting that done, and how much work were y'all doing as far as communicating with each other, especially towards the end there when you were trying to watch out for any runs coming from the outside?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely talking back and forth, trying to figure out where the pushes were good and when to start backing off when the tires started wearing out a little bit. But yeah, in the end, Cofield pretty much said he's going to stick to my bumper. So, I mean, it's, it's tough to hate these places when you got great teammates, but still not a fan.
Yeah, it's definitely super speedway racing. Whenever you're out there by yourself, it feels bad. You're out there, you're trying to make moves, you can't get anybody to go with you. You end up getting caught up in wrecks. But when you get a team that works together, this style of racing that really lets that shine. And so a lot of times in super speedway racing, it's a team victory that gets these things done. A little surprised by how many wrecks we saw with solo spins out there tonight. Tell me a little bit about the handling of the truck, how it changed over a run that may have caused some handling issues out there. Guys getting loose basically just by themselves.
Oh, I know on the low side, it started getting loose, especially in the 3 and 4. I felt the back end kind of wanted to step out a little bit, so I was just breathing the throttle a little bit. 1 and 2 didn't seem so bad, but yeah, I was expecting it to get real tight like it usually does, but it was getting loose and made it fun. Move around a little bit.
Well, able to pretty much dominate this race once you got up front after starting in the 4th position, come home with the win. So, man, congratulations on a dominating performance here at New Atlanta. And, man, the floor is yours. Who you got to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I think Apex Sim Racing, American Grid Apparel, Chuck Phelps for the pole award, Low Cash Motorsports, Kinder Farm and Ranch, Poman Motorsports, my teammates at Bandits for helping me out all race, and you at VSRN for doing great broadcast.
All right. Well, there you have it. Your winner, Michael Kosick, takes home the win here at Atlanta, and he will be locked into the playoffs going forward. It's got to feel good to be locked into the playoffs after only the 2nd race of the season. So awesome. Well, we got to move into our 2nd place finisher, and that is Jonathan Cofield, and we'll get him up into chat. Cofield, you were struggling for a while. You started at the back, and dadgummit, if you couldn't get up to the front, you tried to go 3 wide a couple times, and it just really people kept closing the door on you, not putting you in the wall, and you didn't really have any help. And you had to kind of just work your way through, maybe with pit strategy and a couple of different things. Finally got up to the front, and then there you were behind your teammate, and y'all just worked flawlessly together for that last little run. But talk a little bit about that early part of the race where you were stuck in the back trying to get up towards the front.
I hate this track. It's like running down I-20. But yeah, got stuck in the back there. Tried to go 3 wide. I was gonna follow Kinder one time, but he got in the wall. It seemed like everybody that kind of tried to get up there got in the wall. Tried to get above Chuck one time. 3 wide, a little dangerous in the trial over there. He about put me in the wall. So I don't know. I don't even know how I got up front. I guess taking that fuel only right there. But yeah, pretty boring and aggravating race really. But once I got up front, I know Kostick had led the whole thing. I'd rather have him have that. So I told him, I'll push you and see if we can hold these guys off.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough situation to be in where, you know that you could probably pull out and try to try to get a win, and you and your teammate can race side by side, but it's always a tough
Yeah.
decision because you pull out and then all of a sudden the parachute comes out on both of your trucks and you kind of open yourself up for, somebody like Christian or Kyle Roberts to take it from you. So it's always a tough call to do that. And, did you ever think about it, or were you pretty much dead set on, hey, I'm going to stick right with him?
I told him I was gonna stick right with him. Dedman had sent me a message. He says, "Hey man, I'll finish third." He said, "I'm gonna stick right with y'all." I was like, "Hell, here we go." So, I think some guys had maybe one set left. I don't know if those guys that pitted right there at the end took tires, but looked like the two was real fast. Looks like they got in a little trouble. But yeah, Dedman said he was gonna stay with us. We figured out the restart where Costick could get a little jump, get him down, and shit, we sailed out, man.
There you go. Well, a good 1-2 finish for Bandits, and pretty good season for Apex. Is a little bit wild there. We lost like half the field a couple times as drivers kind of fell off, but you kind of were able to control that inside line and able to get the win. So man, congratulations on second place finish. Who you got to thank here tonight?
I want to thank you and BSRN for the broadcast and Apex Sim Racing for all they do for the league. Aaron Adcock, everybody he's gotten here, Chuck, for what they do. They've done the little winter series, recruiting series, and all that. I've had a real good time in here so far. Low Cash Motorsports, Kinder Farm and Ranch, Cofield Asphalt Refinish and Cofield Supply and Service, SM Racing Products, all my teammates at Bandits.
All right. Well, there you have it. Second place finisher, Jonathan Cofield, as he takes home that runner-up finish, and then got to finish it off here with Christian Dedman, who comes home in third. Christian, you started in 15th. You were probably the biggest mover of the race, and you seemed like that 19 was running pretty good. You were kind of just hanging around trying to find your way up towards the front. It seemed like it was really tough to really make moves. You were kind of just praying that, you kind of stayed out of the mess. And there at the end, you found yourself behind those two at the end. But talk a little bit about your race. What were you struggling with? What did you see out there that, how were you able to get to the front, all of that?
Yeah, the kind of screwed up my qualifying lap, and I think it was only like a tenth or so difference between the the pole and me, and being 15 spots back. I thought it was gonna kind of hurt for a little bit, and I don't know if I just got lucky break or whatever, but I feel like I went from 15th to 7th really quick, and then just kind of from there, just like you said, it was kind of a mess. There was just no. It seemed like so much was happening, but nobody was really getting anywhere. So it felt like we were fighting just pretty much to hold our spot, and about halfway through the race, that caution happened, and I don't know how I missed it, but luckily I squirted through there, and it put me up in the kind of top 5. And Tracy down in Po-Man pushed me for a while, got me up to the top. And when I saw Caustic and Cofield up at 1 and 2, I pretty much just said I'm just gonna, I knew they were teammates, so just kind of piggybacked off them. And I figured wherever those two went, it was probably going to be, it's probably gonna be my best chance to get up at the top. And the high line just never really got a run, and fortunately everything stayed clean and managed to pull out P3.
Yeah, you lost your teammate in which I think you've been running with Poe, man. So you had some teammates, but they all pretty much got taken out as well. So I know you worked really good with Garrett Kinder, and you kind of lost him early. And
Yeah.
how tough is it to make those calls? Because I've done that before, where you're like, okay, those two are going to work together. What can I do? And is it a helpless feeling? I mean, finishing third is awesome, but it's kind of a helpless feeling when you're out there and you see two teammates lined up in front of you, and you're just kind of like, what am I going to do?
Right, and that's kind of why I just kind of conceded that I probably wasn't going to go get 1 or 2, but with me, I'm not usually the a front runner in the race, so I'm just trying to get points any way I can get them. And I knew if there was a little bit of a run on that high side late that I was gonna potentially look to make a move, but just nothing was forming up. It was as people were slipping and sliding all over the place, and Cofield and Kostick, two good drivers, so I had a pretty good feeling they were gonna, unless something crazy happened, they were going to be tough to pass. So I didn't want to take some kind of a crazy risk. And jump around. So it was like you said, it was nerve wracking, looking around and seeing a bunch of names you're not really familiar with. I mean, Kyle Roberts, he and I were teammates a couple years ago. So, if he would have been pushing maybe, but at the same time, we're not really teammates anymore. So, like I said, I just decided I was going to hop behind those two and kind of be pushers for them. And hopefully I was just kind of hoping that they would lead me to a podium spot. And that's exactly what happened. So it worked out.
Yeah, well, a great race out of you, biggest mover of the race by far, and you're able to get the third place finish, final podium. So congratulations on that. And who you got to thank here tonight, man?
Thank all the guys over at Poman, Chuck, Tracy, Garrett, and Brandon. Those guys really kind of take me under their wing and let me kind of be like a unofficial teammate. So really appreciate them. Becky and Kinder over at Kinder Farm and Ranch. Love you guys. I know y'all are watching. And big shout out to you, Eddie, for putting this on. Appreciate you doing the broadcast. And a big shout out to all my 7th graders. I love you guys.
All right. Well, there you have it. Christian Dedman comes home in 3rd, and that is going to do it for us here tonight, as we're going to call it a night. What a great race, though. I mean, Atlanta always now putting on a good show. It has for a long time, but even this new version now is really kind of starting to grow on me a little bit. And while this race kind of fluttered out towards the end, I think it was just mainly because of the lack of cars that were left. I mean, there's just a lot of ill-handling trucks out there, some contact that was made. Just a tough night for some folks. It was just difficult to get those pushes, and it seemed like, it was hard to get that top line to get really rolling after the first stage break. So gonna be some hurt feelings, probably some irritated folks, but that's when you put 20 guys in a box, a few of them gonna come out unhappy. But tonight, just a good finish for a lot of folks. Caustic, Cofield getting the 1-2, Dedman getting that 3rd place, Kyle Roberts got 4th, and Daniel Holcroft there in 5th. Another great finish for him. So, well, great finish for us too. That's Po-Man Motorsports post-race interviews. Thank all the sponsors here tonight: Chuck Peg Leg Felts, Low Cash, Kinder Farm and Ranch, American Grid Apparel, and of course Apex Sim Racing Custom Gear. Want to thank them for their support of this series. They give out a button box at the end of the season. Can't thank them enough. Jimmy over there, go check them out. ApexSimRacing.com. See what they got going on. If you got a sim rig, you've got a steering wheel on a desk with a computer, you got something that you can get there that can be you can find useful. So go check out ApexSimRacing.com. Jimmy doesn't do it because he's generous. He does it because he wants folks to go over there and check his stuff out, purchase something from him. So if you're thinking about getting something, support Apex, support this league, and support Jimmy, who does something really nice for the winner at the end of this season. So go check him out if you're thinking about getting something, and tell them that Aaron Adcock sent you. All right, guys, it's going to do it for me. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see y'all next week. If you want to see the Go Locker Boys race on Podium tomorrow night, go ahead and check that out on Podium Esports, and we'll see you then. Y'all have a good night. Bye.